For my full pan at the top, I want 1.5 inches. I'll come back to that. I'm going to finish my layout. For my hem at the bottom, I want 1 inch. Now, there are people who would want 1.5 inches, and there are situations where I would go 1.5 inches with my hem. This isn't one of them. This is a really small roof, as you can see by the length of the panel. So not a necessity for me to worry about this sliding off essentially, or it's coming unhooked in just a simple 1 inch hem. Now there's other ways to do this, and there's definitely fancier ways to do this, but I'm gonna prep the bottom of the sheet, and as you can see there's already a cut line here. And quite often for these smaller roofs, we're utilizing our spare sheet, or we're utilizing that just in case sheet, if that makes sense. Because of our location, whatever the longest sheet is in the package, I order 1 extra. And if I've got a little roof like this that I know, okay, you know, I'm probably gonna have some left over, maybe I'll short myself a couple of pieces for the small roof, knowing that I'm either going to have a slightly damaged sheet that I'm going to be able to get a couple pieces out of, or I'm going to have, you know, a 20-foot sheet that essentially is left over that I'm going to be able to burn it up. And so you can see that. So when I make these marks, same with these marks, is I'll just pick one corner. And this side here, I'm 1.5 inches. Over there, I'm 1 inch. And I'll square across. That way, my layout, I know, is square off the rib. So if this isn't quite perfect, it's going to be straight enough for anybody looking up at the hem. And in this case, I come in on a bit of an angle. And the reason I come in on a bit of an angle is if I have to trim this side of the rib, once we hem it, I don't have to deal with the lock. I sweep this over a little bit. It just is a little bit nicer when we're doing the hem. Very similar over here. The only difference over here is this is going to be seen. So I want to make sure that my jaw going down is nice and clean. Now, again, I can come in here on a bit of an angle. There are people that will argue that I'm leaving a lot of shine on this, but yes, if you look straight down there is, but if you look at this textured side on, I'm not seeing all this magical shine that everybody's talking about. Again, coming in just nicely into that corner. Notch that out. Now, I don't want to cut all of this tab off. I want to save some of it. I want to have a piece to fold over and hide my end. So after this gets locked on, I can grab my hand tongs and give that a little bit of a bend. We're ready to fold up the bottom. You could have one of these made. I bought one. You could also do this all with hand tongs. But There's lots of hand seamers out there that will do this. There's actually a really nice one that I'd like to have that works very well for doing it on the roof. So that'll hook into our starter. We'll close it up the rest of the way once we're up in the air. We're gonna make, I dropped my snips. Don't drop your snips. For certain cuts, I just find it easier to actually use my greens in my left hand. That's not actually why some people call them lefts. As you can see, when I tried to use that with my right hand, I tried to squish the metal sideways. The greens are actually called lefts because they start in your left hand and they curve to the right. Reds are right. They start in your right hand and they curve to the left for making curve cuts. And of course, we all know you can make straight cuts. These guys are critical for this point. Don't go crazy, overbend. Just give it that little bit. Just want to start to see those creases or those fold lines open up, or show up, not open up. Just enough. And again, I'm a big fan of these, and you could come right across here, hand tongs the whole way. Now that could have been just a little bit more. So before I fold any more, I'm going to give that just a little bit more of a tweak. You could see it actually wanted to start pulling that up. I've got my 90. I made a mistake here. I didn't take enough out to fold that around. And this all gets hidden underneath the Z bar. Nice watertight pan, any water. It does happen to blow up. It's not going anywhere. It's stuck in that pan. These are nice and short sheets, so you can literally almost completely do it by yourself. A couple things you want to keep in mind, even though we know that our starter is nice and straight, you want to make sure that your sheets are lined up well. Now, very easy when you're doing the full box pans for stuff to start to get distorted if you're not like really paying attention. So bear that in mind. If something's not sitting down right, you want to make sure that you take care of it before you start doing your single and double lock. So what I mean by our single and double lock is we're gonna fold this twice. So for a single lock, we're gonna bring that, and I'll show it up close a little bit later on, but lock that together. And then we're going to come back and we're going to completely fold this down. I'm panning the top of the sheet. And I'm going to do this one a little differently than the last one. And what I mean by differently is I'm going to do this one in the conventional way. The last sheet you saw me pan, I folded my ears out to the side to spread the sheet. This sheet, I'm going to fold my ears around onto the face just to create the pan. Again, there's always more than one way to do things. Pull that around to the top. I'm going to give that just a little more of a tweak, straighten it up, and again, grab it, pull it around to the top. You want to make sure that you don't actually pull the top in. I do not know where my roof anvil is, but block of wood works in a pinch. Not perfect, but it's definitely watertight. No water is gonna end up blowing by through there. Unfortunately, we don't have any really good footage of the end wall flashing going in. It's hard to tell from here, but the flashing goes up the wall a solid 4 inches. It is then tape flashed to the zip. You can see we've already got our rain screen in place, and we're getting ready to, well, continue siding here.